even in time of greatest need. So all these wonderful things are happening with Dominic. Quickly, if you there's like 10 really cool stories in this book about St. Dominic and all these other saints called Mystery, Marvels, and Miracles. We have some of those back there. If you want to read more about Dominic, there's some stories in there. But with the rosary, there were miracles also. There's a miracle where they brought a possessed man to Dominic, and Dominic had a big rosary. And he even might have had 21 decades on his, because there's evidence that the rosary was 21 decades at one time. They went down to 15, and then John Paul added 5 more, so now it's 20. Anyway, he had a big, long rosary. So they brought the man to him, and he wrapped the rosary around the man, and the demons are freaking out, you know, and just saying all kinds of bad stuff. And then Dominic starts to pray the rosary in front of the man on his knees, and he was delivered. And then later on, he said to his companions that he saw every time he said a deck of the rosary, demons, hundreds of demons would come out of the man. So it was just an example of the power of God working through things like the rosary and through holy people. And last miracle about Saint Dominic, there's tons of miracles about him. He spoke in tongues, gift of healing, gift of miracles, all kinds of wonderful things. After he died, of course, there were miracles happening from his tomb, and people were being healed and things like that. But then about 30 years later, they wanted to expand the chapel where he was buried, and so that meant they had to take his body and move it so they can expand it and put it back. So they interred his body, and it was perfectly preserved. And as soon as they lifted up the lid to where his body was, the whole chapel filled with perfume, and his body was just like immaculate. And one of the Dominicans that was there, and he's blessed John somebody, I forgot his last name. He knelt in front of the body, just to pray in front of the body, and when he looked up, Dominic's head turned toward it. Can you imagine that? You're amazed by this incorrupt body, should be all corrupt, and then you look at it and his head turns. And then he said, wait a minute. So he moved over a little bit, and the head moved again to look at it. And then he called some people over, and they saw that the head moved, and so they recorded it as a miracle. So, and the other miracle was that he didn't faint or freak out when the head moved. But the point is that God will do what we think is extraordinary to get our attention, to let us know that He's really working in our lives. And we know that, but if you're like me, I need to hear those things. I need to hear the miracles and things like that, not just to get wowed by it, but to remind me that God is working through my ordinariness or your ordinariness or just the stuff of this life, that God is manifesting His power, not to so much overwhelm us, but to get us to believe in Him more. So when you read the lives of the saints, you see the cross in a very profound way, and you think, how did this person even survive that? Because of God's grace, helping them carry the cross. And then you also see the resurrection in their lives. You see the miracles happen. You see the recovery. You see the healing. You see the conversions. You see how impossible situations where you'd never think that there was a way out. But St. Paul said that God always provides a way out. No matter what you're suffering, no matter what's going through your life, there's a way out. There's going to be an end to it. And that's what we need. That's what we become holy. And then to go back to this person on the radio who said that, a bastion of corruption ever since Christianity. And it made me think, well, why would somebody say that? Because there's not enough people who are really striving to become holy. So it's a challenge to us. Why aren't we saints already? I'm talking to me too. I'm not talking about Father Bob. He's already a saint. But why aren't we where we should be in God's eyes in His call for us to be holy? And if we're not, we need to beg God for that grace, to strive for holiness, to be holy as God is holy. And you know what? It's not up to us to do it. It's up to us to respond to God's grace. When I was reading this little pamphlet about somebody, her name's Anne, and she gets revelations. I was reading a little bit. And Jesus was talking to her, and Jesus said that I'm waiting to give you more grace than you already have. And he was saying to this and person that people they're too satisfied with what they have. They're not longing for more. They're not wanting more grace. And God's waiting to pour it out on us. And he also said this too, and it kind of struck me, about the intensity of the saints. And the example that Jesus gives to this person, and says, if you see somebody in danger and you're standing close to them, don't you tell them to move out of the way, or don't you scream and yell saying, get out of the way, you're in danger, move. You don't just let them get hit by the car or whatever, or let the danger catch up to them. You move them, you save them. That's your natural reaction to help somebody. And he said, that's the way the saints are with us. They're totally aware of our lives, and they're kind of like waiting for us to ask them to help us. And they want to just rush in and save us. They're waiting for God's permission, and they're waiting for our permission to rush into and be involved in our lives in that spiritual sense, and to take our prayers and present them to God. What a beautiful thing that we have so many saints that are just longing for us. They're like waiting. When are they going to ask me? I can't wait to help them. It's kind of like that. And all, not just the canonized saints, but all the loved ones that know us from this life, that are in our family, going back centuries. They know who we are, and they're like waiting for us to petition them. So, hopefully, through God's grace and learning more about our faith, and through the lives of the saints, we can kind of broaden our perspective and know how present God really is to us. Okay, please stand. We'll pray some more. Thanks for being patient. Okay, let's open our hands to the Lord, and let's ask Him to heal us and to strengthen us. And through the intercession of St. Dominic tonight, especially, and all the saints, the Virgin Mary, and St. Joseph, to pray for us and to heal us.